Hello, I'm Chris, you're watching FRAG-MENTAL, welcome back. It's the end of the year, that went fast. And I always let you know which fragrances have been rocking my year. So here are my most worn 10 out of 10 fragrances of 2022. Of course, these are not the only fragrances I've worn this year. I've worn and enjoyed many, but I've picked 7 fragrances that I feel like I've reached for a little bit more often than anything else. The first is one of my all-time favorites. This is a nailed-on 10 out of 10 fragrance. It's Naxos from Xerjoff. So this has bright citruses with honey and tobacco, and despite there being tobacco in here, it's not too heavy, so it actually has quite a decent versatility. I tend to choose to wear this for nights out, for events, for formal occasions, times when I'm in the mood to smell expensive. I want to stand out. I want people to be able to smell me. I want people to notice it. And the performance of Naxos is incredible. Because this is such an amazing fragrance, I tend to save it for slightly more special occasions. So I'll maybe wear this for formal occasions, for events, but I will even wear this for nights out because the scent trail and the overall performance on this is pretty much as good as it gets. It's not obnoxiously beast mode or anything like that, but it just lasts. It projects amazingly well. This stuff just seems to last on me for 10, 12 plus hours. I just keep getting wafts. That's when you know you're getting good value for money. When you spend a little bit of money on your fragrance, you do want it to last, and you certainly cannot criticize the performance of Naxos. So if you wear this, you are going to get smelled unless you seriously underspray it, but then really what's the point? This is the sort of scent that you want people to smell. You want people to notice it because it is such a people pleaser. So yeah, if you want people to notice you, Naxos will do the job. The price on this at full retail seems to be around about £200, which for a very nicely done, very high quality, luxurious, expensive smelling scent is not too bad. You probably will find this cheaper if you look out for discount codes on certain sites. Even though it has a versatility and a brightness that you can wear in warmer temperatures, it's still very rich and luxurious. And for me, this one ticks so many boxes. This was one of the most surprising and one of my favorite releases from 2021. And I've carried my enjoyment of this one all throughout 2022 because I've worn this a lot. From Dior, it's Sauvage Elixir. I describe this as quite a robust, woody, spicy scent. I feel like there's an emphasis on the lavender. Performance on this one is huge. Whenever I've worn this, I have not been disappointed. It seems to last and last. But when I've smelt this on other people, it's really brought it home how powerful this stuff is. You definitely do not need to overspray this. Does mean you get more bang for your buck, which is good because it's not a cheap fragrance. It's full retail about £125 for 60 ml, so one of the most expensive designers on the market. George, the fragrance apprentice, recently was wearing this when I was with him in Edinburgh, and I met him at the train station. It was this really blustery day. The winds were incredible. Through these gales, on the streets of Edinburgh, I was really smelling George wearing this strongly, and I was saying, how much have you sprayed? And he said, not that much, just a regular amount. I've not oversprayed or anything, but it was smelling strong. And then a friend of mine, Ben, he went into a store and he sprayed this on his hand. He just did a little tester on his hand just to see what it was like, and for the rest of the afternoon, it was smelling like he'd given himself a full spray down with this stuff. So even one little spray in his hand was really projecting massively. So really strong stuff. I'd describe this as a grown-up, more sophisticated version of Sauvage, and I love it. I pretty much knew I would probably like this one before I even smelled it, and I was correct because I love the Zaharoff Signature Pour On DNA, and splicing some tobacco into the mix, to me just sounded like a winning combination. And it is. From Zaharoff, it's Signature Tabac. Quite a few people have said this smells along the same lines as Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille, and it does definitely have a loose connection with that fragrance, but for me, it's not quite as thick and heavy. It's a little more airy, which only adds to its versatility. Despite it not being quite as rich and heavy as Tobacco Vanille, it still seems to have more layers of complexity to it, if that makes sense. It's a little drier, it's a little more aromatic. I mentioned the versatility. I've worn this for dressed up occasions, I've worn it casually, I worn it for nights out. Stunner from Zaharoff. I've worn quite a lot of this year, and I'm really excited about what he might follow this one up with.
If you love fragrance as much as I do, head over to my online store, luxparfum.co.uk. You'll find my favourite brands, plus brands you can't find anywhere else in the UK. Link is in the description.
This one is my most complimented fragrance of the year, but also my most expensive purchase of the year. So yeah, what does that tell you? You're gonna pay for those compliments, but I think it's worth it. For Amouage Reflection 45. You get the florals and the sandalwood of the original Reflection Man in here, but in addition to that, there's something earthy which gives it some extra edge, and I think this is what people latch onto when they smell this. Something to do with this juxtaposition between the sweet florals and then this dirty, earthy edge just works so well. I bought this bottle, but Amouage did send me a travel sprayer of Reflection 45 to try. I took that with me to Milan when I went to Essence, and one afternoon and evening I wore it and I was really enjoying it. It was very hot as well, so that might have been helping with the projecting. So many people that evening were mentioning how much they enjoyed the fragrance, about 15 people. And whenever I tell this story, people are very quick to dive in and say, well, it was fragrance industry people. Of course you're going to get more comments and more compliments. I definitely agree with that to a certain extent. However, I don't think it means people in real life are not enjoying it as much. I just think fragrance industry people are more likely to vocalize that and mention it because they feel a bit more comfortable and confident in doing that. Generally, in the public, people feel less confident, but just because they're not saying it to you, just because they're not giving you a verbal compliment, doesn't mean to say that they're not really enjoying it and they're not wondering, you know, where that beautiful smell is coming from. That said, when I compare the reactions I had wearing this to other fragrances I've worn around fragrance industry people, this one has definitely had the most positive attention. I bought a bottle because I really love it. I know that everyone around me probably loves it, so it's a win-win for everyone. Expensive purchase, I did get some discount on this. I'd found a discount code, but yeah, my most expensive purchase of the year, but for me, well worth it. This one is a Tom Ford. I've been wearing it loads, easy to grab, stellar performance. What more do you want from the immensely enjoyable Tom Ford's Ombre leather? To explain this in very simple terms, it's a smoother, more rounded out version of Tuscan leather. So it's not the same as that, but it's got that similar sort of fruity, leathery smell. A little negative with this fragrance is that it's so good that I've started smelling quite a lot of people wearing this. I've noticed friends wearing it. I was in the gym the other day and there was a guy in the gym wearing it. Don't wear it in the gym. It's not really gym appropriate. It was yeah, choking me out a little bit, I will say, in the gym, and I think he'd sprayed quite a lot of it on. But whenever I smell my friends wearing this or anyone in the public, it always reminds me how bloody lovely this fragrance is, and it makes me think I want to be that person who other people are smelling thinking, oh, he smells really good. I reach for this quite a lot because I think it smells fantastic. I think other people enjoy the smell of this. Fairly versatile. I can really enjoy wearing this casually, but equally as much formally or on nights out. The only occasions I probably wouldn't wear it for are the really high heat and the gym. But this one is probably one of the most popular Tom Ford fragrances in a while because I've started smelling it on the street. I sometimes get someone's CI, someone that I don't know, but I do get wafts of this. So maybe do just be aware of that. It's that good and relatively affordable that it is becoming quite popular. It's becoming popular because it's very good. It's not detracting from my enjoyment of wearing this. It's one of those like when I used to wear La Malle back in the day where people would know it, they would recognize the smell and they would come up to you and say, are you wearing Jean Paul Gaultier? I used to enjoy that because it was a bit of a talking point. So if someone does recognize it and they want to come up and ask you, then you get talking to someone new, don't you? And that's always good. There is nothing more satisfying than wearing a fragrance that has been made for you with your input and then wearing it and people telling you how much they like it and asking you what you're wearing. Well, I can tell them it's Smoulder and it's mine. When Aaron and I created this, we wanted something that was unique, something that was pretty easy to wear, but also something that would get noticed. Not easy to tick all those boxes at the same time, but I feel that we achieved that with Smoulder. I wore this just a couple of nights ago. I was out with some friends and at various points through the night, different people mentioned that they enjoyed the way that I smelled and they were asking me what it was. That's a pretty good feeling. Unfortunately, you cannot buy this one anymore. It's not available. It was a very limited release and it sold out really fast. But we are doing a new version of this called Smoulder Elixir that we're hoping to release next year. It's not going to smell exactly the same as this one, but I'm hoping it will be equally as good. The last one is one of the easiest, most enjoyable fragrances for me to wear. I can even wear this one in the gym, Mr. Ombre Leatherman. I need to recommend to you Prada L'Homme. big fan of powdery lipsticky iris, and this is one of the best. It's clean, it's bright, it's got a little bit of creaminess to it. Performance for me is fantastic. It's super easy to grab. I feel like the term dumb reach does this fragrance an injustice, because yes, it is easy to wear because it smells so good, but far from being dumb, it always feels like a pretty smart choice when I wear this. It's fairly simplistic, but you can't beat simplicity executed really well. And that's why this has been one of my most worn fragrances of this year. Many other amazing fragrances that I've really enjoyed wearing this year, but I just had to pick out a handful, and these are the ones that I feel like I've worn a little bit more than everything else. What do you think of my choices? Do you go to these? Do you spray these fragrances a lot? What have you been wearing? What have been your top 3 most worn fragrances of 2022? I would love to hear all about it. If you found this video useful, if you liked it, you know what to do. Give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do all that, I will see you in the next one, which may or may not be in 2022. No, it will be in 2022. Yes, I'll see you before the end of the year.